sitting here thinking the fucking like worst case scenario. Like I've got like, there's a fucking alien like in my tummy that's about to fucking pop out and do these ones, you know what I mean?
Oh God!
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today, super excited as per usual because today is episode 3 of Project DadBod. Today's episode, we're gonna go over training, injuries, plus a calorie and physique update. So if you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that little ding dong notification bell to make sure you're notified every time one of my videos comes up. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about today before I even get into the video, and it's probably the most important part of the video to me, it's probably the least sexiest part of lifting, and it's something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about until they go through it themselves, and that is injuries, hurting yourself. You know, most people, when they start lifting at a young age, they just tend to think that they're invincible. They're never going to get hurt. They think it's all about people that are, you know, the only people that get injured are people that have bad form, that are being idiots, that deserve it. Injuries can pop up to even the most experienced, seasoned lifter, no matter what kind of style of training you're into. It happens. It happens to the best of us, happens to the worst of us. I've had my fair share, and I definitely want to talk about it with you guys today, and hopefully you guys can take something from it. Hopefully you can learn something from it, because my injuries right now, they dictate a lot of you know, my lifting and how I'm lifting and why I'm lifting. So the first thing I want to start off with is I've been training for a long time, and you know, I started training roughly around 2003, and started taking it serious in 2005. Like I mentioned in my previous videos, it's not a linear journey. You know, your focus on training and nutrition and the lifestyle, you know, it will come and go. It goes up and down, but along the way, I've definitely kind of collected injuries, if that's how if that's what you want to call it. And the most painful, honestly, the most painful injury that I've ever incurred, thank goodness it's not as bad as what it could be, is tendonitis in my elbows, in both my elbows. So I have what you call, I don't know what, I can't even pronounce this, to be honest with you, I can't even pronounce the scientific terms of it, but it's basically tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. So tennis elbow is the top part or the outside of the elbow, and golfer's elbow is the inner or the under part of the elbow. So I suffer from tendonitis, both tennis and golfers, in both elbows, right? Let that sink in for a little bit, because that basically affects a lot of my lifting, a lot of my exercises. So pushing and pulling exercises, for the most part, I can be quite painful if I don't do them correctly. Now, these injuries are not a case of me using bad form or being careless. It's literally just a case of genetics and overuse over time. It's as simple as that. So keep that in mind. Now, I want to take it back to, I guess, 10 years ago. If you look at, like I said, I've been training for a long time. If you look at videos or images of me from maybe 2010 era, you'd see that I was actually wearing, you know, these elbow kind of, what do you call them? Sleeves on both sides, sometimes one side. And that was probably 2010 was the first time that I ever really started suffering from tendonitis in my elbows. And since then, for the last 11 years, it's been on and off. There are times when it fades away and it's not that bad, and there's times when it's ridiculously painful to the point where I can't even sleep without popping Nurofen, or I can't even go throughout the day without popping Nurofen every 3 to 4 hours, or anti-inflammatories, because the pain was just ridiculous. Like, I couldn't pick up a glass of water without pain. And to be honest, for a long time, I was kind of stupid in that I kind of just trained through it. And I never really took the time off for a long time to kind of help recover the injuries, until maybe the last few years. You know, I started seeing a physiotherapist on a regular basis, started doing stretches, started being careful about doing things that could aggravate my tendonitis. And as of right now, it's really bad. It's really bad, to the point where my whole training regime that I'll get into is based around protecting my elbows, or, you know, stopping them from being painful the next day. So that's the most obvious, I guess, well, that's the most painful injury that I'm suffering right now. Another, well, I don't know if you call it an injury, but it's definitely something to talk about, is I've actually developed a hernia in my stomach. Literally like just around my belly button area. I think just above my belly button area. So this happened, I noticed, in 2018. So in 2018, I was basically leaning down to get in somewhat decent shape for a trip to the Philippines. We're going to Boracay. And, you know, I basically set my cut up, I set my training regime up, and, you know, I was doing it as per usual. And I noticed when I was doing deadlifts, I did have a little bit of pain in my tummy. And it just felt like a stitch almost, like, you know, some food maybe wasn't digesting. And as I was deadlifting, I did kind of notice the pain. Didn't think much of it. Thought, you know, just like I said, indigestion or something, and the pain would go away. Fast forward to when we're actually taking a flight and going to the Philippines. I was on the plane and I went to the bathroom, and I kind of, you know, was going to the toilet, and I kind of felt my stomach at the time. I was quite lean, and I had my hand on my tummy, and I felt a little lump. And let me tell you what, I had a motherfucking panic attack on the plane.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
So I went back to my chair, and, you know, was trying to keep my shit together. And I said to my wife, you know, I've got like a lump in my tummy. And, you know, I'm sitting here thinking the fucking like worst case scenario. Like I've got like, there's a fucking alien like in my tummy that's about to fucking pop out and do these ones. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
So, you know, I told her, she kind of had to feel around, and she's a nurse. And she was super calm, collected, and was just like, oh, it's a hernia. Like, as if like nothing bad. And I didn't even know what a hernia was. So I'm sitting out on a plane, can't even fucking Google it. My panic attack's continuing now. Not only is it escalating.
No, you're not gonna die.
Yeah, I'm going to die.
Gee, you're going home.
I'm going to die.
You're going home to your
Help me.
Oh, you're fine. We're
Help me.
So, you know, I had to wait till we got landed, started Googling it, started looking into it. My wife was super cool. She was like, you know, it's so common, especially people that lift, they get hernias. It's happens to a lot of people. Like, you know, some people get it without lifting, and it's just a genetic thing. So looked into it. I was like, yeah, okay, maybe it is a hernia. And, you know, it's with the spot that it is, because that's where I accumulate most of my body fat most of the time, you can't really see it unless I'm like super lean. So visually right now, it doesn't bother me, obviously, because I'm fat, you can't see it. But anyways, I went and got, you know, went to the GP, got a scan, got it checked out. And basically he was like, yeah, you got a hernia. It's very tiny. It's like 1/2 centimeter. And if it's not causing you any pain or discomfort, you know, just leave it. If it gets bad, we can do something about it. If it starts hurting, we can do something about it. But if it doesn't bother you, and it's not growing in any way, shape or form, it's fine to just leave it. So that's what I've done up until like now. But, you know, every now and again, I do kind of feel it depending on what type of exercise I'm doing. So what I've done is I've just tend to kind of like keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get any worse. So I'm training now, kind of like keeping it in mind, you know, trying to keep my abs tight when I can. I'm not sure if that even makes a difference, but I'm just keeping an eye because I don't want it to get worse. So basically the tendonitis and the hernia are like my two things that I'm really kind of like training, you know, I'm allowing them to dictate my training because they should. I shouldn't be just doing the whole tough guy mafioso thing and trying to train through it, because that's like not the smart thing to do. Because let's face it, man, like injuries happen to the best of us. And the amount of injuries like pec tears I've fucking seen on Instagram, like that's fucked up. And I don't want to be one of those guys. And I'm sure you don't want to be one of those guys. So my training volume, which we will get into, like I said, it's not based on super heavy weights, on big PRs, on trying to break PBs. Where I am right now is, you know, training, sure, for a great physique, for great health, but also to look after my body. I'm not trying to be that big hero that lives the most in the gym and ends up fucking tearing something off the bone, because, you know, that shit, once you tear it, like, I don't know, like, does it go back to how it was after you get it reattached? I don't know. I don't want to find out the hard way. So that's the two things, I guess the two main injuries that I'm kind of like suffering from and working around now. The tendonitis one is annoying at most because, you know, I just have to find exercises that don't aggravate it. And a lot of exercises aggravate tendonitis. Let's get into training and the program that I've set up. And the first thing I want to say when it comes to setting up your own training program is that your training program, as far as weightlifting, should be based around compound lifts. If you don't know what compound lifts are exercises like bench press, shoulder, any type of press, squats, deadlifts, pull-ups. These types of exercises are compounds where they actually work. They're multi-joint exercises that work a lot of muscles or a lot of groups of muscles at the same time. So you're getting more bang for your buck. For example, a deadlift is always going to work more muscles than, say, a bicep curl. Because a bicep curl will basically just work your bicep and maybe slightly a few stabilizing muscles depending on which exercise you're doing. And a deadlift literally works, everything from your calf up to your traps when done correctly. And another example is bench press. Pretty much works your whole upper body, shoulders, triceps, chest, lats, legs as stabilizer muscles. So like I said, you're getting more bang for your buck. You're stimulating more muscles for the time taken to do the exercise. So my whole regime is based around that notion of 2 compounds per day with 4 exercises per workout. Now, a lot of people might look at this and say, well, that doesn't sound 4 exercises, doesn't sound like much. You have to keep in mind that I'm going to be doing more sets and more reps per exercise. And also, I'm keeping some volume in the tank because this is the very start of my training regime. I'm only 2 weeks in, and the goal is to leave something in the tank so that you can add on to it. So you can add more volume on and work your way up. You don't want to go balls to the wall straight away because you'll just burn out, you tire out, and you'll plateau. So similar to your calorie setup or your calorie intake setup, you want to start off as high as you can with calories. Same with exercise. You want to start off as low as you can and kind of build it up. Leave something in the tank. Start deploying certain tools in your arsenal, like cutting calories, like adding volume, like adding cardio, adding workouts, adding exercises, adding things like this, and adjusting as you go, so that you can when you plateau, you've got something to add into that workout regime, whether it's an extra rep or whatever. And one thing I want to mention with my training regime, just like my calorie intake, I'm open to pivoting. I'll do something for a certain amount of time. I'll allow it time to work. If something's not doing what it needs to do, I will pivot, or I'll look at it subjectively and I'll adjust it. These are the things that I feel like people don't take advantage of. They stick to a routine, hoping that it's just going to work. And if it doesn't work, they just keep doing it over and over and over again. And that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Don't be that guy. Be open to pivoting. Be open to adjusting your structure in some way, shape, or form to get where you need to be. Now, when it comes to setting up my regime, I've got it looking like this: 5 days a week committed to weights, 1 day specifically for cardio only, and the last day is for rest and recovery. Now, this is going to depend on yourself. I'm used to going to the gym and hitting weights a lot. There's been times when I would go 7 days a week, non-stop. So for me, committing to 5 days of weights is nothing. I'm very comfortable with that. For yourself, you need to be open to the fact that you're different from me, your lifestyle is different. If you've never lifted a weight in your life, and this is your first time setting up your own training regime, I would not recommend all of a sudden diving in the deep end and doing 5 days a week. Maybe not even 4 days a week. Maybe 3 days a week is all you can kind of commit. Because I guess the biggest mistake that people make, and like I said before with my calorie video, people tend to go from absolutely nothing and then overcommitting. And what happens is, if you make such massive adjustments to your lifestyle, such as drastic lifestyle adjustments, you're not used to it and you're not going to stick to it, right? If you've never woken up at 5 a.m. to go for a 5-kilometer run, and you're used to waking up at 9 a.m., don't make such a 4-hour drastic change in what time you wake up, right? Same with the weights. If you're not used to training weights a lot, don't overcommit yourself. Start off small, keep things in the tank, and once you get used to things and you start plateauing, start upping the amount of days you hit weights. This is going to help you, stay on track. It's going to keep you excited. It's going to keep the results coming in. So I'm just reading off the screen here. I've got it written down. So basically, Monday's legs, Tuesday's push day 1, Wednesday's pull day, Thursday's push day B, Friday's legs, Saturday's cardio, and Sunday is rest day, where I'm going to focus specifically on recovery, stretches, self-massage, and stuff like that. It's not like a rest day where I just lie on my ass all day and do nothing. Stretching is super important, especially at my age, keeping the muscles limber, keeping them, you know, soft and pliable, eliminating trigger points because they get really fucking painful over time. And just basically focusing on the areas that are really tight. So like I mentioned before, my whole weight setup is specifically, my whole regime is specifically set up to protect my injuries. So protect my elbows and protect my hernia. My volume is built up of middle of the range weights, not too heavy, not too light obviously, but something that I can get a nice good set of 12 to 15 reps where I can control the weight, still feel the muscle working, and over time I'll build the volume up by adding reps and sets, not specifically adding weight, because like I said, I don't want to be one of those guys that fucking hurts himself in the gym. So I do have a home gym downstairs. It's quite well equipped. It doesn't have crazy machines or anything. However, it does have the basics. That's plenty enough for me to kind of get the job done. I'm definitely got another video lined up where I'm going to take you guys on a tour with the final finished home garage gym that we've set up. I've done a whole series on the gym actually being built that I'll put in the description below. Monday, leg day. Basically, we're going to start off with stiff leg deadlifts, single leg calf raises that I'll be doing with like a little step and a dumbbell, squats, and lunges. Now with the lunges, I don't actually do dumbbell lunges. I use the easy curl bar on my shoulders to do lunges because I don't want to be gripping things that are too heavy because, you know, it's going to be hurting my elbows. The first push day, which is the Tuesday, is focused mainly around chest, but there is a shoulder exercise in there. So we do barbell incline press followed by barbell flat press. I do this special exercise, I call it the single arm cable raise. And this is basically where I sit down and have a strap around my upper arm and do lateral raises. Now, the thing that I've noticed that aggravates my tennis elbow the most is dumbbell lateral raises. Now this sucks because they were actually one of my favorite shoulder exercises. I'd always get an insane pump doing shoulder lateral raises, but can't do them because they're one of those exercises where I know that I do it the next day, fuck, my elbows are fucking toast and they kill. So I need to avoid it straight off the bat. As much as I hate it, got to avoid it. So what I do is I do this exercise and it basically mimics a lateral raise, but instead of putting, I guess, pressure on my grip and my elbow, because the strap is around my shoulder, around my upper arm, I'm still getting that medial delt pump without hurting or aggravating my tennis elbow. So that's one of those exercises that I do twice a week actually. So it's in my second push day. And then after that, we do slow, lightweight incline flies. And like I said, these are slow, lightweight because I'm not trying to put any weight on my elbows. And this is one of those exercises that I'm opening to deleting out of my program if it aggravates my my golfer's elbow. So if this aggravates my tendonitis, I'll delete this exercise and try and find something else to put it in there. Remember, don't be one of those heroes that trains through fucking injuries. No one's impressed and you're just gonna fucking hurt yourself. The next day, which is Wednesday, is pull day. Now this is the day that I need to be super careful because back day or pull day is right now, almost every exercise that I do is aggravating my inner elbow tendonitis. So I've set this up for 4 exercises as usual. All of these, I'm open to these like being deleted, pivoting, changing it, finding something that works without hurting my elbows. And you also notice that I only have 1 pull day a week because I'm trying to limit how much I'm doing back. It's really aggravating my tendonitis. So pull days, basically, I start off with straight arm pull downs. These are not your usual pulling exercise. They're very unusual exercise. Not a lot of people do them. You may have seen them done before. Great way of activating the lats without really putting a lot of tension on your elbows. We're doing rear delt flies. Now, if I hold the dumbbells in a certain way, I don't feel much pressure on my elbows. I've got these cool, I've got straps, your standard run-of-the-mill straps that I use, but I've also got these special straps with hooks on them. Now, these are amazing, and I feel like they're specifically built just for protecting your grip and therefore your elbows. And so basically, I'm doing what I call hooked rack pulls. So they're rack pulls, so they're basically deadlifts where you're not lifting off the floor. The weight or the barbell is already kind of raised up towards your around knee level. Now, this is going to basically hit 2 birds with 1 stone. It's the closest to a compound lift I can do for back because I'm trying to avoid deadlifts because I really feel like that's what gave me the hernia to begin with. Doing rack pulls, it's not hard on my hernia. Plus, using the hooked kind of straps means that I don't have to grip the bar as hard. So I'm doing those, and also doing, to finish off back day or pull day, lightweight, slow, hooked wide grip pull down. So it's basically using a pull down machine, lat pull down with the hooks, and doing it really slow, lightweight, no heavy weights for this one, and basically trying to do it as much as I can without even using my hands to grip, and just allowing the hooks to pull the weight, to hold on to the weight and pull it down and activate my lats. Super slow, and really feel the back work on this one. Like I said, my whole pull day is something that I'm open to pivoting and even scrapping the whole day if I can't do it without feeling pain. The next day after that is Thursday. We're going to do barbell. This is basically my second push day. It's very similar to the first push day, but I've just altered some of the exercises so it's more shoulder focused, more delt focused. So we start off again, barbell incline press. Then we move into the barbell seated military press. We do the single arm cable raise again. Love that exercise. And then we go into rear delt flies. Last weight day of the week, so it's a Friday, we're doing legs again, and I'm basically just repeating leg day from Monday. So you'll notice that I actually keep leg day far away from my pull day, just so that my legs are fully recovered for pull day, and I feel like I can do, you know, the rack pulls with I feel like I can do rack pulls better when my hammies aren't really sore. And as you can see, I love doing stiff-legged deadlifts. It really activates my hammies. So that's my weight setup, pretty much. So I recommend that you do the same. And one thing I want to mention as well is that you need to track your volume. I've mentioned it a few times here and even in my other videos, tracking your volume the same way you track your calories. You want to start off with low volume and start working the volume up as you go along with integrated weeks where you deload or where you lift, you know, basically nowhere near as much as you would lift on a heavy day, and it's just lighter weight. And that's really just to give your body a chance to kind of recover properly, have a break, and they kind of build up the volume again. You notice when you look into strength or powerlifting programs, they have volume set up in percentages, and you build it up to a certain point, and then you deload, and then you start again. Mine's kind of set up in that same way. I use an app called Rep Count, I think it is, to basically, you know, punch in my exercise and my workouts for the day, and reps, sets, and it adds up the volume for me, so I can keep an eye on my volume and basically track that over time and insert regular deload weeks to have a rest from lifting so heavy, lifting so much, and not, you know, lifting the same amount of volume for a long time over time, because you're just going to wear yourself out. Now Saturday, pretty much just going to go for a 20-minute run around the neighborhood. My favorite type of cardio is treadmill, HIIT, walking for a bit, and then sprints for 30 seconds. That's my favorite. I do it for 20 minutes and it always helps me get shredded. But I don't have a treadmill, can't go to the gyms because we're on lockdown. So I'm just gonna go for a run around the neighborhood. It's good to get out and get some fresh air. And Sunday, basically Sunday is gonna be dedicated just to self massage, recovery, and stretching. You know, we've got all the massage kind of foam rollers, massage guns here. So really gonna start working on my forearms and upper arms and loosening up all the tight bits of muscle there that I think is contributing to my tendonitis. Also, my traps and shoulders get quite tight because I sit in front of a computer all day long. So a quick update on my calories. So in my previous video, I kind of went over calories real loosely. I think I was gonna sit on 2,200 calories static for 6 weeks and then see what was gonna happen from there. I've decided to put a plan in place. I'm gonna sit on 2,200 calories for the next 4 weeks. So I have already been sitting on 2,200 calories for 2 weeks. Now, I wasn't following it religiously. There were a lot of times where I kind of went over a little bit, but I still tracked it. And that's the important thing. So now I'm gonna hit 2,200 calories and be quite strict about it now, tighten things up for the next 4 weeks. And then for the following 4 weeks after that, I'm gonna drop it down to 2,000 calories a day with carb cycling on the weekends. And then after doing 4 weeks of that, I'm gonna drop it down to 1,800 calories for 8 weeks with carb cycling. So there's basically gonna be 3 phases to my cut, with the goal to be quite lean and in shape by the end of November. So in Australia, that's literally just the start of summer, which means I'll be in shape for summer. So I've set it up, it's gonna be, you know, like I said, last 2 weeks have been done and dusted, but the next 16 weeks are broken up into those kind of like 3 phases or 3 blocks. Gonna keep you guys informed as we go, as usual, but for now, let's do a physique update. So it's only the end of week 2. Not much has changed. The first week I lost a ton of water weight just by eating a little bit cleaner. And when I say cleaner, I don't mean washing my fucking food. I mean, you know, eating, you know, for me, eating clean means just tracking and keeping things a little bit tighter, eating less salty foods, less fast food takeaway, less processed foods. And with that, you'll notice that you will drop water. And that's what's happened with me in the first week. I think I was down 1.3 kilos. This week, I'm at 78.1. So it's half a kilo, not bad. I'm not expecting too much weight to be dropped off in the first few weeks. If I do, great. If it goes up, you know, there shouldn't be an emotional attachment to these numbers. You should really just trust the process and keep doing what you're doing. Don't let numbers, the scales, or your pictures and videos, your progress pictures and videos kind of affect the way that you feel. Just stick to the plan, keep working the plan, and keep going. So as you can see by my physique update, I look the fucking same. I probably need a shave, but like I said, it's lockdown. When I say shave, I mean shave my body. My Jumanji beard's fucking still getting crazy. But anyways, everything looks pretty much the same still. Hopefully over the next few weeks, there'll start being some obvious changes. But like I said, not married to the image, not married to the progress photos or the number on the scale. Just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and trusting the process. But yeah, feeling much better. You know, I was kind of a little bit more lethargic before. But yeah, not much has changed. This is the start of the third week, so we'll see how we're going. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys really enjoy these videos. I don't know how much you guys are getting out of it, but you know what? I'm having a blast making them. If you do enjoy them, do me a favor. Go over and hit that like button. It really helps. It really helps with the algorithm and gets my message out there. So if you've got any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.